You aren't lazy, you are terrified of your own potential. We like to pretend procrastination is a time management problem, a failure to use a calendar, or a lack of willpower. But the science tells a much darker story. Procrastination is not about managing your time, it is about managing your emotions. In 1997, Dr. Piers Steel at the University of Calgary conducted a meta-analysis of over 200 studies on procrastination. He discovered a mathematical formula for it. He called it the Temporal Motivation Theory. It suggests that your motivation is a product of your expectation of success, the value you place on the task, your impulsiveness, and the delay between now and the reward. When you procrastinate, you aren't choosing to do nothing. You are choosing to avoid a feeling. When you look at that blank document or that unfinished project, your brain experiences what neuroscientists call an amygdala hijack. The amygdala is the ancient part of your brain responsible for the fight or flight response. When you feel the pressure of a deadline or the anxiety of needing to be perfect, your brain perceives that task as a literal threat. It sees the work as a predator. So, it does exactly what it was evolved to do. It runs away. This is why we doom scroll. This is why we clean the kitchen when we should be writing a thesis. We are seeking immediate mood repair. We are trying to soothe the stress of the task by engaging in a low-stakes activity that provides a hit of dopamine. It is a biological survival mechanism gone wrong in the modern world. Consider the akrasia effect. This is a concept coined by the ancient Greeks, specifically Aristotle and Socrates. Akrasia is the state of acting against your better judgment. You know what you should do, you want to do it, yet you do something else entirely. For thousands of years, humans have been baffled by this behavior, but modern psychology has finally mapped the logic. It comes down to two specific cognitive biases. The first is present bias. Your brain is wired to prioritize the version of you that exists right now over the version of you that will exist in a week. To your brain, future you is a complete stranger. It doesn't care if future you is stressed out or scrambling to meet a deadline. It only cares that present you is comfortable right now. The second factor is the perfectionism paradox. Many people think procrastination is a sign of laziness, but it is often the opposite. It is a sign of toxic perfectionism. If you don't start the project, you can't fail at it. If you keep the project in the realm of potential, it remains perfect. The moment you start, you introduce the possibility of error. By avoiding the work, you are protecting your ego from the discomfort of being imperfect. This is where the dark logic becomes a trap. The more you avoid the task, the more the task grows in your mind. It transforms from a simple to-do item into a monstrous, looming threat. The anxiety spikes, the pressure intensifies. This makes the task even more repulsive, so you avoid it even more. It is a feedback loop of misery. You see this play out in the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule. Most people spend 80% of their energy worrying about the 20% of the work that is difficult, rather than just doing it. So, how do we break the loop? You have to decouple the task from your identity. When you fail to complete a task, your brain tells you that you are a failure. When you succeed, it tells you that you are a genius. Both are lies. You are simply a person executing a series of actions. In 2012, psychologist Dr. Fuchsia Sirowoz found that people who practiced self-compassion were significantly less likely to procrastinate on future tasks. Most people think they need to be harder on themselves to get things done. They think guilt is a motivator, but shame is actually a paralytic. When you shame yourself for procrastinating, you increase the stress, which triggers the amygdala, which makes you want to avoid the work even more. If you want to stop the cycle, you have to lower the barrier to entry. This is the concept of micro steps. Do not aim to write a book. Aim to open the laptop. Do not aim to clean the house. Aim to move one cup from the table to the sink. The goal isn't to be productive. The goal is to lower the level of threat your brain perceives in the task. When you make the task small enough, the amygdala stops screaming. Once the amygdala stops screaming, the executive functions of your prefrontal cortex can finally come back online. We live in an attention economy designed to exploit this exact vulnerability. Every notification, every infinite scroll, and every algorithm is designed to keep you in that loop of procrastination. They know that your brain wants to escape the discomfort of reality. By staying in a state of constant, low-level distraction, you never have to confront the goals that actually scare you. But here is the truth that the algorithm doesn't want you to know. The discomfort you feel when you start a hard task is not a sign that you should stop. It is the feeling of growth. It is the friction of your brain actually changing its physical architecture. We are all going to reach a point where the time we have left is shorter than the time we have already spent. When you look back at your life, you won't regret the work you did poorly. You will regret the things you never started because you were too afraid to be imperfect. The dark logic of procrastination is a defense mechanism for a life you haven't lived yet. Every time you choose to start, even for 5 minutes, you aren't just getting work done, you are reclaiming your sovereignty from your own instincts. You don't need more time, you don't need a better planner, you just need to stop protecting yourself from the struggle, because the struggle is the only place where the person you want to be actually exists. The next time you feel the urge to click away, to check your phone, or to wait for the right mood, recognize it for what it is. It isn't a lack of discipline. It's an ancient, irrational fear, and you are the only one who can decide if that fear gets to run your life.